This week on a special edition of Marketplace Middle East from Morocco, the effect of the European debt crisis, why some Moroccans are considering packing up their bags and heading home. Plus, as tourism feels a pinch, the country's minister tells us about plans to look to other markets for growth. 2011 was a year of sweeping political change across the Middle East, with protests toppling regimes in Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt. Here in Morocco, protests were largely peaceful, but they did usher in a new constitution and fresh elections. The government, led by the Islamist-leaning group, the Justice and Development Party, or PJD, has vowed to fight corruption and improve the economy. But 9 months in, there are still challenges ahead. November 2011, fresh elections under a new constitution herald a new political era in Morocco. But nearly a year since the government's taken office, it's faced some tough economic challenges. Unemployment is nearly 9% and even higher amongst the youth. Analysts say the gap between the rich and poor is widening, but a major problem is its trade balance. To put it simply, Morocco's exports don't cover the costs of its imports. And here's why. The kingdom's largest trading partner, the Eurozone, is suffering the effects of the debt crisis. Shrinking exports are coupled with higher government spending. More than 90% of Morocco's energy needs are imported. And the cost of oil has sent the country's energy bill rising, as well as the cost of other basic needs. Rabat subsidizes many of these, like sugar and flour, but it's now being forced to cut back spending, although that could pose social risks. Add to that, the largest sector, agriculture, is suffering from a severe drought, forcing the government to import cereals to cope with demand. All that has left foreign currency reserves dwindling down to just 4 months' supply. But despite this gloomy picture, the IMF forecasts growth of more than 3% for the kingdom, substantially more than Europe. What's more, a $6.2 billion credit line from the IMF gives the kingdom much-needed breathing space. Relative political stability has so far allowed Morocco to weather the global crisis. But in the coming year, it'll have to make some tough decisions about its spending habits. Low wages and unemployment have meant many Moroccans have traveled to Europe in search of work because of its close proximity. That's Spain over there, just 15 kilometers from Morocco's shores. But now with the financial crisis, all that could change. This is the source of Mohamed Choual's livelihood. Goods for sale piled into his van as he enters the Moroccan port of Tangier. He used to make a living in Spain, working in construction. Then the financial crisis took its toll. He now travels back and forth to his native country, Morocco, selling consumer products. So Mohamed spends 15 days in Spain, then he comes back to Morocco for 15 days to sell all these goods. That's the only way he can earn a living right now, he says. Europe's close proximity has meant many Moroccans traveled across the Mediterranean, particularly to France and Spain, in search of jobs and opportunity. Morocco's strong ties with Europe are historical. Today, they are still evident in its economy. The European Union is its largest trading partner, accounting for more than 50% of Morocco's total trade. Individually, France makes up the bulk of that. 60% of foreign direct investment into the kingdom also comes from France. The majority of Moroccans living abroad are settled there, according to the minister in charge.
We have about 3.4 million people registered. They are about 85% in Europe. And France is the leader with about 1.4 million. Following by Spain, Italy, Netherlands and Belgium.
But with the European debt crisis, growth prospects for the Eurozone this year are faltering, dropping below 1% according to the International Monetary Fund. That means less investment from Morocco, fewer European tourists and a reduction in remittances.
Moroccans living abroad contribute in Moroccan economy by their remittances. We reached last year more than $8 billion. We expect little decrease for this year.
The minister believes the downward trend in Europe will be offset by Moroccans living elsewhere, like the Middle East and North America. He's also optimistic that others will refocus on business at home.
When there is crisis anywhere in the world, everybody is looking for a more comfortable place to live, a more profitable place to invest. And Morocco is an emerging economy.
Ali Rock is one such investor. He left Morocco 22 years ago. He has a successful shipping business in the United States, but believes the time is ripe for investments in his native land.
Once a Moroccan, you're always a Moroccan. And the opportunity is great in the present time. I'm looking to invest in the agriculture sector. It is one of the strongest in the country. Why exactly? Because the capital is there, the land is there, the help is there.
So what do you think the main challenges are for you if you want to invest in Morocco right now?
The judicial process and the financial process are not running parallel. Well, anyone could take you to court like a simple employee, and it will drag for years. The banks need to get paid every month. So that's the part that scares me.
Opportunities, but ones that are not without risks. Ali is still unsure if he'll move back to Morocco. But as the financial crisis continues to bite, Moroccans abroad like Mohammed and Ali may just have to consider their options at home. Leonie Lakhani, CNN, Tangier, Morocco. The European financial crisis is taking its toll on another key pillar of the economy, tourism. Up next, we speak to the country's tourism minister to find out his plans to turn the sector around. The Roman city of Shella is one of the main tourist attractions here in the capital, Rabat. Last year, nearly 10 million visitors came to Morocco, but those numbers suffered slightly because of the European financial crisis. I spoke to the tourism minister, Lakhsan Haddad, to find out how they're working on getting those tourists slowly coming back.
At the very beginning, there was the perception that maybe Morocco is like the other countries which saw revolution, but through communication we have been able to tell a different story, that Morocco has walked a third road. We walked a road where we did like consensual kind of peaceful revolution. We had a good year last year. We could have done much better, and we're hoping that in next year we will do much better in terms of tourism.
So what was the effect of the European debt crisis on Morocco? We saw a downturn as a result of that.
Our markets have decreased a little bit in 2011 and also in 12, and especially the French market, the Spanish market, the Italian market. But other markets rose, and we relied also on those markets to make up for the losses. But we're not relying only on the European market. We have been able to go through some to emergent markets. The Polish market is very important for us, the Russian, the Scandinavian. And we are also seeing like huge results in the Gulf market, and we think that the Gulf market is also one of the niches for our tourism.
So you're still looking more at the European, but the more Eastern European market?
We're looking into Eastern Europe, which is very important to grow in the market. We're looking into the Gulf countries, which is a very interesting market. And we're studying two markets which we think are markets of the future. That's the Chinese and the Brazilian markets. That's where the growth will happen in the next 10 years. Growth will come from emergent countries, will come from emergent economies, and we're following that trend.
Now, you've got some very ambitious plans for the next 10 years. So, tourism makes up about 8% of GDP, as we know, nearly 10 million visitors, but you're trying to double that by 2020. That's quite ambitious.
It is very ambitious, but also we can do it because Morocco has the fundamentals to do it. It's a very important destination, very close to Europe. It's also, we have now the know-how, we have the expertise to be able to do that. And what we are doing is we are diversifying our offer throughout Morocco. So yes, it is ambitious, but I think we have the means. We have also the know-how, and there is a lot of interest from a lot of investors in order to come to Morocco and then invest in Morocco.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. That's a very expensive plan that you've got ahead of you. Nearly $20 billion being set aside for tourism by 2020. How do you plan to finance that?
Well, we have a lot of interest from different kinds of investors. You know that tourism in Morocco is a private business, and the government is there to help and enhance that business, and the government is putting there is a fund that is devoted to attracting investors. We have also been able to put a fund with some sovereign funds in the Gulf countries, but also we are putting a lot of road shows so that a lot of investors who are interested then invest.
Now, in terms of all these funds that you're setting up, it is coming amongst a very volatile financial situation in the world. Is this the right time to try and set up these funds?
It is the right time, because what we are seeing now, there is crisis in the world and people are coming to Morocco because they find Morocco a stable country and they want to invest in. Although it has been affected by the crisis, it has not been deeply affected.
The economy here has also been impacted, not just by the crises, but we've seen a drought here, we've seen revenues go down, we've seen a deficit.
Of course, we are going to see growth of only 3.5% this year, but that's already good when you compare it to other countries which have 0% growth. We think that by, next year, 2013, 2014, we're going to renew with growth which is 6% and 7%, and we think that the economy will get better.
That's it for this special edition of CNN Marketplace Middle East from Morocco. I'm Leonie Lakhani. See you next time.